Welcome back to the Oracle of Enlightenment as we continue our coverage of origins. And here we have VJ Wax. How are you, VJ?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thank you for being on the Oracle of Enlightenment.
Oh, it's a pleasure to do this. My first trip at Origins, and all things are exciting and new for me.
So tell us about your latest book.
Well, I'm a science fiction writer, but I like to think of it as Tolkien channeled through Michael Crichton, because I grew up with the classics and love Tolkien, and I wanted the sweep of the language and the richness of the imagery, and I also wanted a little bit of the cutting-edge science of Michael Crichton, because I am a scientist at heart, and I like that contemporary feel and the accessibility of the modern characters, and I also think Michael Crichton does a beautiful job with conspiracies, and I have a lot of conspiracies in my stories.
What's the name of the book?
The book 1 in the Tau 4 series is called Tau 4. That's T-A-U and the number 4. And it introduces the main character and the main setup and the main conspiracy. Gerda Tau is a woman who wants to be bigger and better than any woman has ever been. She finds a man who makes it so, and all heck breaks loose.
I see. How many books are there in the series?
There are 2 in the series. She essentially gets caught between the man who designed her, because she's a hybrid, a genetic hybrid, and the man who apparently comes to rescue her, or does he? So nothing really is as it appears to be. Book 1 is Tau 4, and book 2 in the series is called Hammerspace, and that was just released early this year. And Hammerspace, as you know, is non-Euclidean space. It is space that is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Doctor Who fans know what the TARDIS is. It is space that is bigger inside than it is on the outside. So the title really does relate to the story. The story is bigger inside than it is on the outside as well.
Time and relative dimensions in space.
Yes, yes, and a lot more conspiracies. My readers get to the end of book 1, Tau 4, they think they know what's going on, and they get into book 2, and they realize book 2 is completely blowing up what is in book 1 in terms of conspiracy. So they really do get the revelation in book 2, Hammerspace.
That's great. What other books have you written?
Actually, those are the first 2. I'm actually a Nichols quarterfinalist screenplay writer as well, which means one of my screenplays in Los Angeles did top 300 out of 6,000 screenplays, and it's a fellowship competition that's run by the people that bring you the Academy Awards. So my background is in script writing, and Tau 4 actually started first as a short story and then as a screenplay. And I realized I had enough there to actually expand it to the level of a novel, so I did. But Hammerspace is really the stronger book. It, instead of 3 days, it takes place over 10 days. Instead of 10 chapters, it's 46 chapters, and the amount of depth and number of choices that the characters have to deal with is expanded exponentially. It also does some very provocative things and some things that writers are encouraged not to do, and I managed to pull it off and actually have it be successful in Hammerspace.
Great. Have you had any of your screenplays sold and made into movies?
No, not at all. But, there's so many quarterfinalists in the Nichols Fellowship competition that I think 1 or 2 of them out of 100 is actually produced. The main thing is to keep writing. My 3rd book right now is the book I'm working on now, which is not book 3 in the series. It's actually a young adult horror fantasy. So I'm going into a new genre for the challenge of it, and also to try a different voice, a different scenario. This is a very odd story, and it lends itself towards the direction that I think that a lot of the media is in. Kindle has revolutionized the publishing industry, and now is the time for authors to take their courage in their hands. Get that book out in one form or another. No more excuses. You don't have to wait for a publisher to get back to you anymore. You can get your book out on Kindle and start having people read you tomorrow afternoon. It's a very scary time for those people who are with the big 6 publishers. But for those of us who really want to be read, now is the time. Don't waste any more time. No more excuses. Get that book out now.
What got you into writing?
I've been writing all my life. I'm a published scientist, so I had to write a thesis. And I like to believe I can write almost anything. So a family member says, "Can you write me a haiku?" And the answer is yes. If I have to write a corporate plan, a business plan, I can do that. My love, my heart is actually in fiction. But I do play around with other things. One of my screenplays is a historically accurate screenplay about the fall of France in 1940. So that gives you an opportunity to learn different genres and also get into certain things that really set your heart on fire. And I'm a history buff, a tremendous history buff, so I wanted to do a screenplay that was historically accurate, and I found a story I just couldn't walk away from.
Wonderful. What's your website?
My website is vjwax.com, and all of my links to my books are available there. Book 1 and 2 of the Tau Force series are available on Kindle, so we can save our readers a lot of money and still have a lot of fun giving people a good ride.
That's great. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Yes, I'd like to send out the word. Don't waste any more time thinking you can't do it. If you've got that story in your head, for goodness sakes, get it on the page. Send it out to us because we want to read you too.
What do you like about being a scientist?
Gives you a sense of discipline, an objective sense of rationality. It also helps you build better characters and better worlds sometimes because you know they have to be fairly accurate and believable.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
VJ Wax, everyone.